Welcome in to Popcorn and Beers, where some use tomatoes and others use thumbs. We use the stuff that gets you drunk. And it may appear that we are missing one member of the crew today. So, Jordan, how are we doing on this fine day?
Oh, we're doing good, man. It's a great day in movie land.
Babes in movie land instead of babes in toyland. That should be the 2024 remake. Should be babes in movie land. All right, so let's just get right to it, right? It's early in the morning over here. Let's get right into something fun. Let's get into Deadpool and Wolverine. Jordan, what did you think of the third installment of the Deadpool franchise?
Oh, man. I loved it. It was so much fun. Very worth the hype. I think I was a little shell-shocked at first, as I usually am. I think going into this movie, really with any Ryan Reynolds movie, it seems like has you. It's hard to not be annoyed at first and be like, oh God. It takes a minute to just get comfortable with all the Ryan Reynolds-ness that's going on, that's being thrown in your face. But this is his baby. He really willed this franchise into existence, and he's Marvel Jesus. He says it repeatedly throughout the movie, and I mean, it's great. It's so funny. I love that. That's always one of my favorite things that he keeps bringing up. And then the all the barbs at Fox that he all the stabs at Fox that he throws is like, yeah.
But like no spoiler, just stay tuned because they show a little love at the very end of the movie to all the Fox properties that came through. If you could sit through the credits, right? They do a little bit of love for them. I think the marketing for this film is so good. Like this morning, I didn't even realize it. I wanted to see what the gross has been so far. So I just, said like Google, because I have an Android, you have an iPhone. I did the talk to text into Google and I searched what's the opening gross for this. It looks like it's trending to be the highest grossing rated R movie of all time for its opening weekend. And you know what popped up on Google over my little search bar? The dog. The dog popped up over the little Dogpool popped up over my search bar, and he had his tongue out. I was like, the marketing for this movie just doesn't miss. It's been spot on every step of the way. And then Rob McElhenney, he's in the movie. Did you know that? Because I didn't know that until I saw it on his Twitter. Yes, he makes a cameo, and you don't know it's him because he's Space Pool or Future Pool or whatever, the robot Deadpool. That's Rob McElhenney.
Okay.
So sorry, go.
No lines, you can't even see his face. It's just like, that's funny.
And it's literally I wouldn't have known that if I hadn't gotten on Twitter this morning, and I follow him on Twitter because I think he's hilarious, and I follow the Wrexham story, and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and he posted it this morning. It's him and Hugh Jackman, and he's in the spacesuit.
Yeah, man, it's so good. I love the. I'm trying not to spoil anything here because it's just chock full of these surprises and Easter eggs and cameos and stuff.
So if anyone follows it, Ryan Reynolds on Twitter, the crew, their fight crew, their team up, he spoiled it already at Comic-Con. He calls them out on stage. So I think it's okay to say some names of people that appear in the movie. Like, I think you can say Chris Evans appears in the movie, but you don't say in what capacity. Right? Don't say in what capacity, but the Avengers are in the movie.
Yeah. Look, if it's the highest grossing R-rated movie of all time, I'm pretty sure all the fans, the people that really, really care, are going to have seen this by the time this comes out.
I'm gonna see it again.
Yeah, I mean, I've considered it. If I was not opposed to if somebody was like, "Hey, man, we're gonna go watch it," I might be like, "Okay, I'll go watch it again."
Yeah.
But Channing Tatum, that's all I'm going to say. Channing Tatum, I mean, look, There's good reason that movie is not being made. I've got to say,
but it was. You don't think this was like leading into it a little bit?
Maybe, yeah.
I thought it was. It was great. It was so. Anytime he plays the stupid role, it's funny. Like you've seen Free Guy, right?
Yeah.
Like think about him in Free Guy. That was my favorite part of Free Guy, and I'm not ashamed to say it. Was Channing Tatum in Free Guy? I was dead. Like, and every time I see it, I'm dead. And then think about this. This is the end. Remember his character, and this is the end.
Yeah.
Like every time he, like, I don't like him as a super serious. Like Magic Mike, get out of here. Step Up, get out of here. But like him playing the goofy role, he's so good at it. And there's so many rumors about him being so self-serious that it's so funny to watch him do it.
Wow, really? I've never heard that about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that the accent was just like, why? And he just looked ridiculous. Like the second he came out, I was like, oh my God. He looks like he's just bursting out of that like face cowl thing that he's got on. It's like it looks like MODOK.
Looks like MODOK.
But him in action as that character was really awesome. That played well. Like the choreography of him and the powers and stuff, that was really cool, the way they executed that. The minivan fight, there's a fight between Wolverine and Deadpool that takes place in a minivan, and that was
in a Honda Odyssey.
So badass. That was one of the best fight scenes you'll see. Funny, just creative, violent. It's got everything.
The end result too, when you see the next morning, was hilarious.
Yeah. The Cassandra Nova, the hand thing that she does, I was like, oh, can they please stop? And they really just make you watch it, like just with, oh God, horrible.
I mean, her fingers have been inside you.
Yeah. Wolverine with the suit was awesome. Hugh Jackman was great.
Hugh Jackman?
Yeah. Hugh Jackman. The suit was awesome. I don't think it's no surprise here. The cowl comes into play.
Yeah.
The cowl does come into play, and the nostalgia, Wolverine's like my favorite superhero. While it does, I like it. I enjoy it, but I just don't know if it really translates to like, whoa, that looks cool. It just looks pretty goofy. In all honesty, it looks pretty silly, as you would expect it to.
It looks like the Watchmen. He kind of looks like the owl from the Watchmen.
Oh, yeah. It just looked way silly, but hey, I love it.
What he's called? Blowjob handles.
Blowjob handles. Yeah, their banter, their dialogue, chemistry, all that was it was perfect. They're made for each other. Watch the credits. There's an after the credit scene, not consequential really. It's just something Ryan Reynolds being silly. But just the short credit scene, the short after credit scene, very heartfelt. It's like a blooper reel of all throughout the Deadpool series and X-Men of just Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds. Very good stuff there. Watch that. I give this a popcorn and 3.
Yeah, I mean, as far as trilogies go, let's rate it on the scale of trilogies. It might be one of the best, if not the best, third movies of all time, up there with Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Now, they make so many quips about the multiverse, and I'm really hoping that they do decide to bring this to an end. Any time travel show that you watch or multiverse show that you watch, it doesn't survive. And it doesn't survive for good reason. Because you can't keep up. Like, you just can't. You get lost in these timelines. You wonder where you are. You wonder what's happening. Who is this? And it's so inconsequential because no one dies. Like, everyone gets brought back to life all the time. Like, it's never over for somebody. No. So, in this one, you get to see all the characters they're killing off. That's not a spoiler alert. Like, they tell you, hey, all these characters after this movie are dead. That's it. They're not coming back. We're not bringing it back at all. This is it. Say goodbye to your favorites. And I thought that was great. I agree with you. Channing Tatum in the fight role was great. Like in the action sequences, It was awesome. I wish I got more bow staff. Like Will Ferrell wants more cowbell. I wanted more bow staff. Okay, the cards were cool, but I wanted more bow staff. That bow staff was dope, and when you actually got to see it, what he was doing with it, the damage, it was awesome. I think that I don't want to say it without spoiling it. Anyway, a lot of it was very, very cool. That's what I will say. They did a great job with special effects. They did a great job with action. They did a great job making fun of some of the sillier characters that have existed in the Marvel Universe. It was very much making fun of itself. Lots of breaking the fourth wall. Lots and lots and lots of breaking the fourth wall over and over and over again. If you're not into that, that might get old for you. But if you're Californians are going to love it because we're just sarcastic humans. Like, we know the world is coming to an end. We know there's not much that we could do about it. So what are we going to do? We're just going to be as sarcastic as possible and love life. That's why I love my home state. And that's why so many people hate us. That's the truth. We enjoy life and you don't, so you hate us. And that's this movie. It's enjoying making a movie. They're having fun, just like almost like Adam Sandler and all of his friends. And you're going to hate it if you don't like watching people have fun. But they're clearly having fun making this movie. So for me, it's a popcorn and 3. Dog pool. I don't care how disgusting they tried to make that scene. I loved every second of it. I'm a dog person. And it was hilarious. It was fantastic. I loved it.
Yeah, the dog licking in the mouth, and I can't with that. I can't.
I loved him. What did he say at the end? You look like a goblin had sex and didn't stop till a goblin had sex with something and didn't stop till sunrise.
With the gremlin, the bad one.
Yeah. What were you gonna say?
Oh man, the Peter scenes cracked me up, and honestly, the Paradox guy cracked me up too. Like throughout the movie, his facial expressions and stuff is just, there's a lot with the characters that aren't consequential characters that don't have big speaking roles, or just kind of these ancillary characters for comedic purposes. There's a lot of nonverbal, just things that just crack you up throughout the movie. That's like, I was laughing at things that nobody else in the theater was laughing at, I feel like.
I did too. I do have one quip. Popcorn and 3 for me, by the way. Popcorn and 3 is my rating. But I do have one quip. I wish they made Girl Deadpool Gwenpool. I wish they had done that and put her in the pink and the white suit. I think that would have been dope. I think that would have been really cool if they did that.
Who was that? Was that some kind of famous lady? Kind of pop
Gwenpool?
stars? No, the girl pool. Who was...
I didn't look up her.
Nobody
her cast.
famous? Okay.
Yeah, I didn't look up her. Well, it might have been. I didn't look her up. Like, the only reason I knew it was Rod McElhenney. Like, I'm sure there's so many cameos in this that I didn't even recognize or pick up. So I want to go watch it by myself, because I actually went with a group of people from the training I'm at right now. And, like, it was fun, but I like going by myself because I pay closer attention, if that makes sense. So I want to go by myself and see what I see. But I'm sure there's going to be lots of cameos that everyone missed. Like, there was a bunch with what Nova's army, like Nova's little army, that I missed. Yeah. Also, I don't recall Ant-Man dying, so giant Ant-Man dying. So I got to see, like, what's going on. Where did they get that from? What's going on there? But I'm sure there's so many cameos that we just missed.
I'll tell you who I think it is. She's not credited, but it makes complete sense. I think it was Blake Lively.
It could be Blake Lively or
she's credited
Olsen
in the movie, but not as a voice, not as a. It doesn't say who she played. It just says she's in the movie.
Or Caitlin Olsen, Rob McElhenney's wife, also tall blonde, another tall blonde. So either one of them, I could see that.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so let's get to the drunk classic. It was my drunk classic. I am sad because I feel like we're living in it. That's what made me sad. I feel like we're literally living in it. When I travel to certain places, I'm like, oh my God, you really believe that that's true. Like, you believe what they say is true. You're buying this. Yeah. You've got to be smarter than this, and they're not. And they're all, it's because they're Cleven's children. You know, they're all Cleven's children, and he had 18 children because he didn't know how to stop. And then little Clevens didn't know how to stop. And they're outbreeding all the smart people. Like, that's why J.D. Vance exists, is because of Idiocracy. If anyone's intelligent, please go back and listen to some of J.D. Vance. He contradicts himself, and you're so about being, like, stirred. So that's this movie. Like, it contradicts itself on purpose. Mike Judge does stuff on purpose. And I love the restaurant chains becoming, like, sex palaces in Idiocracy. Yeah. It was hilarious. Also, why did I forget Maya Rudolph was such a fox? Like,
Yeah.
my God. Like, I've never seen her like that because I think she's so hilarious. She's so good at what she does. She's one of the funniest people in Hollywood. Like, she's so hilarious. How did I miss that? Like, I've always known Tina Fey, like, top of the chain, funny women that are incredibly attractive. But Maya Rudolph in this film, wow. Like, that's all I'm going to say. Like, I don't want to objectify her at all, but just like, okay. Like, I was unaware of your game, Maya Rudolph. But the movie's hilarious. Luke Wilson does such a good job of playing that unassuming, like, nonchalant, like, what's going on here? I don't understand it.
Yeah.
He's so good at that person. Terry Crews. How did this not, like, was this before or after White Chicks? Because I don't know what came out first. And I'm thinking, like, how did this not launch him into stardom? Because he's so good in this movie as the president. Overall, it's still a popcorn and one, and it sucks because it's a reflection on society. Like, it's putting a lamp on where we're at as society, and we just keep making the wrong decision. And Idiocracy points out, like, hey, yo, if you keep making the wrong decision and you keep, like, giving into money and power and, like, worrying every time a stock drops, we're all going to die. Yeah. Or we're going to be drinking Gatorade out of our faucets. Okay?
Brondo. It's got electrolytes. It's what plants want.
It's what plants want. So I don't know. It's instead of Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, it's Dawn of the Planet of the Idiots, right?
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you right now, the language in this film would not pass in 2024. No. Like, at all. It's not going to fly. It's going to make people clutch their pearls if you're one of those humans. I am not. I'm not. I can differentiate a movie and jokes from real life. Yeah. Okay? I wish we were better at that.
That's the point. It's pointing out the way that that just idiot, just ignorant people talk, Yeah. That's the whole thing. It's like, it's very like, oh, we're not PC. You know what I mean? It's what's the word? Prophetic. Josh was using that word.
Prophetic,
It's prophetic.
Okay. Yeah, no. So for me, it's a popcorn one, but I mean, I think we need this movie. I think everyone needs it. And it's almost like The Boys, right? The Boys is shining a spotlight on you and you're getting mad and lashing out. But hey, dumbass, this is what you actually look like. Yeah. Be self-aware, be introspective for 5 seconds, and you could change the whole world. You can change the whole trajectory of the world if you're introspective and self-aware for 5 seconds. Instead of don't make fun of me. Idiot, we're making fun of you for a reason because we believe you can change. We believe you're intelligent enough to change the trajectory of where we're going. And that's what this movie was. Like, yo, we're making fun of you, but we're making fun of you because we want to laugh with you eventually. We don't want to laugh at you. We think you could change. So anyway, go ahead, Jordan. Popcorn one for me.
Yeah, I agree. It's a popcorn and one, but yeah, it definitely doesn't feel like one. It's this is a great movie. I love Dax Shepard, and I think I hadn't seen this movie when it originally came out, but Employee of the Month was one of my favorite movies growing up. It might end up a guilty pleasure kind of drunk classic down the line.
Okay. I own it still on DVD. So
I do too. It's one of my favorite movies growing up. So when I was like, man, this Dax Shepard guy, he's hilarious in this movie. What else is he in? Stumbled me onto this movie. And man, he's good as Frito, the idiot sidekick. Yeah. Not really sidekick guy.
I like money.
Yeah. He's super funny in this. One of my favorite things, and it's people don't catch it unless you've really seen the movie, is to insult someone by calling them scrote.
That's such an old insult. That's such an old.
That's funny. It's lost on people of my generation, so people are like, huh? They don't really catch it. Maya Rudolph is good. Beef Supreme, the whole what do they steal that from? The whole pit of what is that movie trope really? What's your origin of that?
Is it Running Man? Or is it the Thunderdome?
Yeah.
Running Man, the Thunderdome, something like that.
I would
Mad Max and Thunderdome.
Probably a little bit of both. Maybe Running Man for sure. I could see that. But yeah, this is it's the world that these people that we're talking about. It's the world that they think they're fighting against, but that it's they're the reason we're ultimately hurtling toward it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Going against their own interests. It's like, it's definitely creepy how similar it is. It still lives on in memes today, with the RNC going on, and we have Hulk Hogan up there tearing his shirt off, and that's Terry Crews.
Terry Crews
as the wrestler president of the United States.
Yeah.
This is a good movie. It's a popcorn one.
I physically saw you get sad about society as you were talking. Like, as you were talking about Hulk Hogan and Terry Crews, if you pay attention to Jordan's facial expressions, you see him get sad about the state of the United States while talking.
But I mean, hey, hopefully it's as funny. When we get there, hopefully it's as funny as it is in this movie. Because, man, if you are one of the smart people that manages to still exist during that time, you might end up ruling. You might end up taking over. So
taking over the world.
Yeah.
Or be the Secretary of the Interior and just be really good at recognizing when things need water. I don't know. I don't know. All right, Jordan, what was the first film you watched this week?
So I watched In a Violent Nature. And this was...
Perspective of the killer, right?
From the perspective of a killer is the way that it was advertised, for sure.
Okay.
And so it was a good concept. It's an interesting enough concept to draw you into it. But did it actually work? No, not at all.
Not at all.
Not at all.
I saw you're mad it's getting a sequel.
Yeah. On social media, they just announced it's getting a sequel, and I don't know if did this movie make any actual money, but it was a low budget movie. It probably cost them, I don't know.
Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey is getting a sequel. They're getting a whole universe, so.
Yeah, but they have the whole like the IP thing going on with the Winnie the Pooh, that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, don't get it. Terrible. So this is basically a ripoff of Jason. Like, there are scenes that are in the Jason franchise that are direct translations into this. It's just the whole, pretty much, this movie's about an hour and a half long, and maybe a quarter of it or to half of it is just him slowly walking through the forest. And it's like a shot of over his shoulder.
Like an indie film. Like an indie film would be, of like you have music playing and it's like super indie film music, and it's, why am I just walking through the forest right now? Yeah,
pretty much. It's just him slowly trudging through the forest, and they kind of do like a time lapse thing to show like, okay, he's been walking and now it's turning into nighttime, and
and you're sitting there as an audience member like, I don't care. I literally don't care.
Here? Yeah. It's not all from his perspective. There are a lot, when it's not from his perspective, they try to make it seem as if it's kind of what he's looking at, or they try to capture a whole big, huge, it's like these really far away shots. Like there's a whole girl swimming in the lake off the dock, as they do in these campy slasher films.
Yeah.
And he, pulls her underwater, that whole bit. It's horrible dialogue. There's no real plot at all. Zero. It's pretty tame for most of the movie, as far as like, it's called In a Violent Nature, but as far as the violence,
there's not a lot of it.
So the first like quarter of the movie, there's really not much. There's some killing, but it's like, but there is one killing in this movie right in the middle that's up there. It is, if we're familiar with the Terrifier series, where it is
the clown, right?
Yeah, where it is over the top, just gross, brutal. They're just trying to be creative here. It's up there. It's that level of freaky. I'm just going to spoil it because I don't want you to watch this movie at all. So the killer has 2 meat hooks attached by a chain in the middle that he carries. And he meat hooks through this girl's back, through her stomach, wraps around up into her head, and then pulls her head through her stomach and out her back.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what we're working with there. They finally do show the killer's face towards the end of the movie, and he actually looks pretty cool. He looks pretty gruesome. Because when you're actually shown Jason's face eventually in the series,
Was it like him
kinda,
looking in a mirror, or the
no,
or the lake?
no, it's in really stupid context as well. He's just sitting against a tree, like fidgeting with something that he picked up off one of the people he killed. It has no real reason, but it just shows
No
his face
significance?
none at all. He gets shot and falls down.
This killer's weird.
Yeah, it makes no sense because he's supposed to be like the undead, like he rises out of the ground to start killing people, and like he can stay underwater for what seems like forever, but he gets shot and he falls down, so he feels pain.
Apparently,
yeah, but he can't drown, so I don't know. It makes zero sense. If you're into like the whole campy, kind of artsy horror thing, you might like this a little bit. The last 20 minutes is unwatchable. It has no bearing on the film. I mostly just tuned it out. I watched it for you guys to be diligent.
For you guys.
To be responsible. I stared at the screen, but I was just completely tuned out of it. I couldn't tell you what happened, honestly. It's a popcorn.
It's a popcorn. Okay, all right.
Less than a popcorn if I could.
I watched Blank Check because it was on TV when I got to my hotel.
Disney one?
What's that?
The Disney one?
Yeah, the Disney one from like 1993. Yeah. Because it was like one of my favorite movies as a kid. Like it's every kid's dream to understand it. And what stands out to me is how far we have come with the Macintosh. What's your name? Macintosh. With the computer voice, right? Like it's such a dead giveaway. It's not a human. I still use one of the sayings in this to people I like, and they never get it because this movie's from 1993, which is 30 bleeping years ago. It's 30 years ago. What are we doing? Anyway, time is a son of a bitch. I still go up to people and be like, hey, you know what you got? And they'll be like, what? And I'm like, Style. It's from Blank Check, and nobody gets the reference that I'm doing. They're like, that's funny. And I'm like, it's funnier if you get it, I guess. But like the sumo costumes, the race course around the house, the extra large TV made up like of a million TVs with virtual reality, how it all plays out with him getting hit by somebody in the parking lot and getting a blank check and he makes it out to cash. It's so cartoonish. It's basically just like Home Alone. And at the end of the day, it's one of those films where it's like, oh, you need your family more than you realize. They love you. And what does he enlist his older brothers who bully him to work for Mr. Macintosh? It's just every kid's dream still to this day, I think. And I think outside of the aspect of a weird love story between an FBI agent who's an adult woman and a 9-year-old child or a 10-year-old child, 12-year-old child, however old this kid is, the movie holds up.
Yeah.
But that love story is a little bit weird. A little bit weird. Popcorn and one for me. Now, Jordan, we both... Go ahead. You watched it?
I did. I've watched it. It's been a long time since I've watched it, but I remember really liking this movie. Yeah, it's every kid. It was every kid's dream to commit bank fraud.
Yeah, and $1 million just doesn't go as far as it used to, man.
No.
He builds a whole castle. He literally builds a whole castle and has a racetrack around his home, throws giant parties, gets limos, has a personal driver. I mean, like in today's world, he'd be broke in a month.
Yeah.
Or the house. That'd be a down payment on the house he had, right?
Yeah.
Oh, man. But yes, I love that movie. We both watched a new Netflix movie, though, and I'm interested to see where you come from because you love a little war flick, and this goes for it. I was in the Air Force, so I have some issues with the movie myself, but it is a Liam Neeson and Russell Crowe vehicle, really. Or not Liam Neeson, sorry, Liam Hemsworth. Okay. sorry, I went with the slightly more famous Liam. Yeah. Liam Hemsworth and Russell Crowe vehicle. Land of Bad. So what did you think?
Land of Bad movie titles for sure. Really doesn't make any sense.
What does that represent, by the way, Land of Bad? Like
I thought it might be a military kind of thing. No, I don't. No, never heard of that one.
Never heard of it.
The guy has it tattooed on him.
Does he?
Yeah, the guy.
Milo Vijayamada?
No, not him.
Not
Is he
him.
Mexican? Is he supposed to be Hispanic of some sort?
Was he?
The other guy
Was he?
that survives. He's got it tattooed on his arm.
Yeah,
He's
the
like,
other hostage.
yeah, welcome to the land of bad, and it says land of bad on his. I'm like, okay, I guess. Cool flex, bro.
Yeah, right.
It's a very Call of Duty Modern Warfare movie that takes place in the Philippines. Is
it the Philippines? I thought they just like dictated as Southeast Asia. So the character you're referring to is Ricky Whittle.
Okay. Yeah.
That's the actor, Bishop.
Okay. Yeah. I think they do say it's in the Philippines. They definitely, if you have captions on like me, it's like speaks Tagalog.
Yeah.
So,
well, they say that a lot. They're Filipino soldiers.
Yeah. And they're connected to what? I don't know. Something representative of like the
some
Taliban.
Terrorist organization. Yeah.
Yeah, something. The framing of the conflict at the beginning of the movie, they try to give you like this cryptic reason why we're fighting. And it's pretty typical. They frame it like in a, they're screwing with our economic interests. So we are going to take them, that sort of thing. Very American. What's the word I'm looking for? I'm blanking here. Anyways, not important.
I don't know. Yeah, very American. What? America, bleep, yeah, coming to save the mother bleeping world, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, we're world policing, getting in other people's business. When Russell Crowe, he's just playing the role that Russell Crowe now plays, which is just out of breath, grumbling old guy. His character is super weird and annoying, and I just don't think that it was necessary for him to be that much of a character in this movie.
The Hawaiian shirt is not realistic. That would never fly. That would never be allowed, especially on a captain, no matter how long the captain's been in, no matter what the captain's story is.
Yeah.
Like that's not a real thing, ladies and gentlemen. We don't do that. That's not allowed.
Wearing a golf glove while he's like working on his tech consoles and stuff. It's like, no way.
The Colonel watching the March Madness. It's not real. We don't do that stuff. You can't take a phone off the hook and put it up in an emergency room, in a war room. Literally, the consequences of some of these actions, I'm like, no, you wouldn't be there.
No, exactly. Yeah, it's pretty. It's a pretty bad, look at a representation of what people, dumb people will see anything and believe it. So next thing we'll have some legislation being passed based on this movie.
Look, I think our audience is the smartest audience, like all 8 of you. You are the smartest audience. Sometimes 50 of you, and I appreciate all 50 of you. We've gotten up to 400, I think, on one of our shows. Nice. Okay? So some of you are great, but I will say for the stupid ones, this is not real. And you know who you are. You know who you are, stupid audience member, okay? Just own it. Yeah. We love you the way you are. It's not real.
Yeah, go ahead, Jordan. Don't vote and take away TVs from our military people, soldiers over there. This isn't real. They don't behave in that manner. You get two Hemsworths for the price of one. You get older, far lesser known Hemsworth, Luke Hemsworth,
the doctor.
Yep. Milo, as you mentioned from This Is Us, is in it.
So, This Is Us and Heroes.
Yeah. He's so it's got a pretty decent kind of B list-ish cast.
Yeah, like Bill Pullman, Bill Paxton situation for me. I went through a majority of the movie thinking that was Casey Affleck.
That's funny.
For like a large.
They do look alike.
I was like, oh, Casey Affleck, dope, and then I was like, oh wait, that's like that Milo guy.
Yeah. Definitely. No. That's like one of those things we were talking about last week where it's like, is it this guy or this guy or this guy? It's like, I'm sure there's one more guy out there that looks almost exactly like them too.
Yeah.
The dialogue is just stupid. It shamelessly foreshadows everything that happens. Like, oh, what's going to go wrong when all that equipment doesn't work and you're all alone and you run out of ammunition. It's like these things happen in just domino perfect order that the guy predicts. And it's just so painfully obvious. There is a hard to watch torture scene They're going in on this guy, but it does result in a really, really cool explosion scene that I did like with the water in the tub and yeah, his hands. Yeah, I know. I thought that too. Didn't make sense, but it looked cool. It looked
It did,
cool.
it did
I
look
thought
cool.
the action, if you just separate the action from anything else going on, I thought it was satisfying. If you just want some action, some explosions,
Him and
some
Milo clearing the building was pretty dope.
right. Yeah, it's fine if that's what you're going in it for, but this is
Yeah.
a popcorn movie.
It is. It's your Netflix film. It's very lazy, written by AI. I love what you said there. Call of Duty, right? Like they typed into chatbot GPT, "Hey, what if I made a movie about the terrorist organization moving to the Philippines in Call of Duty style?" And this is what it spit out, right?
Yep.
Uh,
Yep.
it's really goofy. It's really goofy. I don't know if it's a dumb action flick. If you remove like the parts that irritated me about the military, maybe. Yeah, if they didn't like do it like if it was let's say it was a mercenary organization, that would have been better. I would have bought into that a little bit more. Mercenary organization being so sloppy, but we're just not that sloppy. You can make fun of us all you want. We have a lot of protocols and procedures in place and punishments in place, so that stuff doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So, especially on a special forces mission, like that's not a chance in hell. Okay, not a chance in hell any of this happens. Popcorn movie. What about Cobra Kai season 6? I'll start this one. Worst season yet. And I really love this show, and they are just trying to end it. That's all they're trying to do is end it. It has never been as corny as it is right now. It is so corny. It has been so stupid. It's been so predictable. And I'm really mad at the writers for ruining what was a really great show. Man, how old did that guy get from Accepted, by the way? The stoner guy from Accepted, that's the chef in the movie Accepted with Jonah Hill and Justin Long. He got old. He got old quick. He made a cameo and I was like, wow, bro. I can't believe they can afford the guy that plays Jewel, right? Richard Jewell. I can't believe they can afford him because that guy's a certified movie star now from like Blackbird and I think you said Cruella last week. That dude is
Walter Hauser.
That guy's a movie star now. Like he is everywhere and he makes a little cameo, which was cool, but I don't know. It's this season so far, they better land the plane. It's so predictable and the characters are over it. I mean, his daughter in real life is 30 years old. Okay.
Is she really?
Yes. She's 30 years old.
Jeez.
So I don't.
Yeah, no, they all look way too old to be what? Are they supposed to be like high school seniors at this point? Yeah,
they're high school seniors, exactly. And they all grew so much. Like all the ancillary characters like grew super tall in the time it took to make this show.
Yeah. You're right. It's the worst season. Was it? And it was hard for me to get through this, honestly. Like I didn't like on past seasons, I would binge the whole thing in like one sitting. I'd be like, no, I'm watching this.
She's 28. Sorry, she's 28 years old.
Yeah, you could definitely. There's definitely a lot of times where I'm like, yeah, these are not the way that people this age, like just the expressions and the way they carry themselves is not kid-like at all.
Yeah,
anymore in this. It's very corny. It's very. It just all feels. Yeah, it feels very forced. It was hard for me to get through this first half of this last season.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're running out. They're running out of things to surprise you with. They brought all the characters in that they could possibly bring in. They've done all of the references and Easter eggs and little, it's just kind of run its course mostly. But it's a great show. It's fun. I mean, you're crazy if you don't think we're going to get like Cobra Kai, the next generation or something stupid like that, like in 5 years with some Mr. Miyagi's son is
just because of the success that this has had, right? Just based on the success. I think Peyton List, she's the antagonist girl I can't remember her name, what her character's name is in the series. She's also 26 years old. Like, she's also up there in age for playing a teenager. You know, Robbie
Yeah.
Keane, this one of the sons, he's 26 years old. So it's just hard at this point to keep doing this.
And Robbie Keane, his character, the acting, everything was really one of my favorite characters. They really dulled him down, and his acting it reflects that in this show. Like, he's just very vanilla, very just. They try to cram in some kind of motivational thing for him a little bit at the end, but it just doesn't play. I think Jolo from Blue Beetle, Jolo Maradona, he carries a lot of the emotional and the girl who turned whatever
Peyton List, Tori. She plays Tori. Sorry.
Yeah, she does some of it, but at the same time, all of that was just a little. I don't know. It's all just so forced, and it gets a little lazy. But I give this season a. Well, are we reserving, or did you rate it?
I rated it a popcorn. The show is a popcorn and 2.
Yeah,
the show is a popcorn and 2, but it's just so bad. The season was cringy.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a popcorn and 1.
Okay.
I also don't buy the whole Dimitri being one of the big guys. That was never supposed to happen. You're forcing that on you, and it's like, come on.
Yeah, just so the character can go, to the big what is it, Senpai Seiko or Seiko?
Saikai Taikai.
Saikai Taikai, yeah. It's just so he could go to that, and that was lame. That was stupid.
And why are they tarnishing Mr. Miyagi?
Yeah, right? Why are they doing that? Well, they may not have. We may not know that they did that yet. We're not finished with that little story loop yet, right? Okay. We're not done. So we'll see where that goes. But yeah, popcorn for me. And what was the final movie you watched this week there, Jordan?
The final movie I watched was Born on the 4th of July, starring Tom Cruise. This has been on my list for a long time. It's coming off Netflix in a few days, so try and watch. You might have a day to watch that when this comes out, so go watch it. It's a Vietnam movie, and so I love some Vietnam history for sure. It's a very interesting conflict in American history. The beginning of this movie, actually really the whole movie, but mostly the beginning, is like this whole kind of Americana nuclear family. It's got the golden boy at the center, and that is Tom Cruise.
Mm-hmm.
They're in this small middle America town. And it just shows him growing up playing baseball. He hits a home run and his dad lifts him in the air. That's my boy.
Yeah, typical all-American dude.
Yeah, it's just everything about this, the whole town shows up for a high school wrestling match. Like, there are guys at prom and their hairline has receded to the middle of their head. Like, it's like real 50s America stuff.
Yeah.
There's the most nonsensical war scenes. And it's crazy because this is an Oliver Stone film. They're just nonsensical, so chaotic, so poorly put together. Shot, written, everything about the war scenes I did not like. But if you think you're going to watch this movie and that's what you're getting, like some good war, that's not what this movie's about.
Yeah.
It's not about the war. It's about what was sold in this American exceptionalist way to get people to go into Vietnam and buy all the crap that they were saying. And then it's the result. It's about the trauma of what happens to these guys after Vietnam.
Young, broke kids fight rich white guys' wars.
Yep. Yeah. That's it. It's the after is oof. It's hard to watch, especially the whole hospital scene situation. There's a good chunk of the movie where he's in a VA hospital and caring for all these people, and they're not caring for them at all. It's pretty horrible. There's no budget to have equipment running to help these people save their limbs and things of that nature. It's just awful. One of my favorite lines is he's back home and he's in his wheelchair and he's drunk. He's going through it, and his relationship with his family is falling apart because he's just so traumatized. and he's arguing with his mom, yelling at her, and he goes, he's paralyzed from the waist down, is how this ends up, and he goes, my penis doesn't work, and the mom's like, don't say penis in this house, and he goes, penis, penis, penis. It was a funny, crazy, because it's so what is this, like, this would probably be in around the 70s, early 70s.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh yeah, I think times have changed for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but all he really needed to get his mind on the right path was a trip to Mexico for some culture and companionship, we'll say.
There you go.
He meets Willem Dafoe, who, he's caught up in his crap. He wants
another Dafoe. That's 3 weeks in a row.
He's ageless. He's invincible. He's a marvel. He just wants to argue about who killed more babies, and he's a weirdo in this movie. But they have a funny dynamic. It ends really weird. Everything. It has good sequences that stand alone, but then they all just feel so rushed and jammed together throughout this movie, even though it's a long movie. I don't know how he could have done that better. I give this a popcorn and 1, I guess. Yeah,
okay, popcorn and 1. Well, let's say this for our butter on top this week. We've got an M. Night Shyamalan movie, and we all liked Knock at the Cabin.
Yeah,
right. That we all liked it. We all said it was good. Dave Bautista showing you his chops, like that dude can act. We've got Trapped, and so far, like every M. Night Shyamalan movie, I'm bought in thanks to the trailer. So let's just see: is this going to be Knock at the Cabin Door or The Happening? Is it going to be The Happening? Are we going to get that? Right? Or is it The Sixth Sense again? Like, we go so many different ways, right? Split or Glass. What are we going to get in this movie? Right now, the trailer has me. I'm excited about it being the butter on top. I want to watch it.
Yeah. Does it look like it's going to be a good movie that's really going to make you think or do anything? No. But does this look like it's going to be an entertaining, fun movie? Yeah, I think so.
I think so, too. And I hope so. And then, Josh, why don't you tell us what your drunk classic is going to be? Pause for effect. All right, Dick Tracy, you're going right back to my comic roots. When I was a little kid, I had lots of action figures with Dick Tracy. Do you remember Dick Tracy, Jordan?
I'm familiar with the name Dick Tracy and that he's a detective, but...
You've never seen it?
No.
I have seen it, and I remember it being like off the wall, ridiculously silly. That's what
black and white film?
No, it's a 90s like Ninja Turtles Double Dragon movie.
Oh, that's fun. Okay.
So we'll see. All right, Jordan, where can the audience reach us? Where can they tell us what we did right, what we did wrong, or how they feel about the movies that we watched this week?
Our X page could always use more love. Come follow us on X. That's where you'll get the links and the up-to-dates on our show, on the episodes. Instagram at Popcorn and Beers. Both X and Instagram at Popcorn and Beers. Instagram is popping. Come engage with us there for sure.
Check us out. We can't wait to see you at the movies. You get the popcorn, we got the beer.